Hello everybody, today I have another video for you all. Hooray, and 200 subscribers. Almost twice as much as my last 100 sub special. I thought to celebrate 200 subscribers, I could try recreating some of my older videos. So I've hand selected 3 videos that I'm going to recreate, and then 2 more extra ones that are just going to be little bonus ones. So, goody. For my first video that I'm going to be recreating, I thought I could do a re-review of one of the first figures I ever reviewed on my channel, being Combiner Wars. Oh, hold on. Out of the way, Optimus. Combiner Wars Bruticus. Alright, before I even get into this video, I just have to say that poor old Onslaught is in some pretty rough shape. I know I said Bruticus earlier, but I meant to say Onslaught. Onslaught is his name. But since my last video, which was almost a year ago at this point, his arms and most of his other joints have become terribly loose, mainly just due to kind of neglect. I haven't used this guy in quite a bit. Yeah, so if you see me struggling to pose him in any way during this video, that is why. A little bit of background on who this guy is. Onslaught was released in a series called Combiner Wars, kind of a little back in 2015 or so. And it was a series that kind of ran for a couple years. It didn't do very well, mainly just because the characters kind of just looked a little at best. And I feel like Onslaught was one of their better characters they had. I think some of the best ones, which I unfortunately never owned, were some of the aerial bots. I've heard very good things about those specific figures, but Onslaught here, it's one of my personal favorites. He's also kind of the only one I own and ever owned. And yeah, I do enjoy his colors a lot. That's probably one of the main reasons why I like him so much. Matter of fact, in my previous video, I pretty much gave no information on what Combiner Wars was. Matter of fact, going back to watch my original video to kind of re-grasp the concept of who Onslaught was, I was kind of struggling. I was like halfway through and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really mumbly. I do suggest you go watch my original video. It's just called Transformers Review Onslaught. It's on my Transformers Review playlist if you want to go watch that. But yeah, he's a pretty interesting figure. His proportions are a little awkward at best. So the articulation on this guy is iffy at best. So he's a kind of a 3-in-1. So he's Onslaught, and then he turns into a truck mode, and then he has a combined mode. Kind of similar to the Stunticons I reviewed a little while back, but not very well done. So, as you can see, just first looking at the figure, it looks like a very clunky kind of piece of garbage. Kind of is, but let's just take a closer look at it before we start harping on it. So, the articulation is kind of There's this weird double elbow thing that looks just really gross. And he's got these like ratcheted shoulders, so you could mess around with that, make him look a little more bulky, but not really much you could do with it. And he's got ratcheted legs, and they can move out. And just listen to that. A little bit of ASMR for you, which is actually something I did in my original video. Now, a big problem with this guy and almost every single joint on him is that every single joint is ratcheted, whether you like it or not. Now, some of them aren't ratcheted, and the ones that aren't ratcheted are the ones you wish were ratcheted. So, for example, the knees are not ratcheted, but side effect to that is they're very loose. Just earlier, before I started filming the video, I was trying to pose him for that beginning shot where I pushed Optimus out of the way, and it took me like maybe 3 whole minutes to try and just get him to stand up, because like his knees were giving me some pretty rough time. And also very similar situation with his arms. So the elbows here are kind of ratcheted for some reason, even though they don't need to be. then everything else isn't, and it's just really floppy because you kind of wish this was ratcheted, or if not, at least a tighter joint. And the shoulders are the same, like they're ratcheted for kind of no reason. Well, they're supposed to hold combiner arms on them. And probably the worst offender out of all of this has to be the dreaded hips. I mean, if you want to get an A stance, this is the best you're going to get. It's either trying to hold your pee in or whatever this is. I mean, that's just weird. Probably also another problem with this figure is that he's very, very back heavy. I mean, almost the entirety of this video so far, I've been having to catch him and prevent him from falling back, because every time I put him down, he really wants to fall back. And I mean, just looking at this character, the way he is, like, you could tell, like, he's leaning back, like just putting him, like, resting, like, he automatically wants to flop backwards. Now, they did give him heels. They gave him heels to compensate for this. The only problem is they're not ratchet or click in at all. So if he's standing on a surface, they can just fold back. Especially this one. This one's really loose. This one's a little better, but I could feel it getting like that. This one kind of snaps into place, but it's more like just the plastic itself rubbing against it, and like no actual ratchets like something like this. Now I know that the articulation may not be great, and the figure in general may not be great, but he must have a good alt mode, right? I'm not even gonna finish the joke. It's not even worth it. I mean, just what is this? What is this? If I ran up to you, and I ran up to you with this, and I was like, what is this? Tell me what this is supposed to be. Would you have a solid answer for me? Probably not. Now, how did this alt mode happen? Was it A, trying to be new and original, B, trying to compensate for all the movement and articulation that has to happen, and it kind of hinders it a little bit, or C, this is cheap and lazy reproducing the same figure just for a small cash grab? If your answer was C, you are absolutely correct. Because, as you could see sirens here and horns and stuff here. This is because this used to be a fire truck. This used to be a fire truck for a different combiner. I won't get too in depth with that. But, yes, it used to face this way and not the other way around. But as you can see, it was kind of repurposed to look like some sort of tank. By the way, if you don't know what this thing is supposed to be, it's supposed to be a truck with a missile launcher trailer on the back. Do you see truck with trailer anywhere in here? I mean, just look at this. Do you see any remnants of any sort of truck and trailer with guns on it? Now, you can see the guns there. I mean, that's kind of accurate-ish. It wasn't for the giant combiner head sticking out. But there's really no evidence of any sort of trailer. I mean, if you really wanted to stretch it, you could say that this might be a cab, and this might be a flatbed of some sort. But it is such a stretch of the imagination. I mean, just what is this? Now, thankfully, we do get a very, very G1 accurate combine mode for this. And probably right off the bat, it's very obvious that there's something missing here. Arms and legs. So if you watch my original YouTube short on this guy, I kind of complained a little bit that the arms and legs are sold separately, which is a little bit annoying, but I mean, I don't really know why I complained about it, because I only really complained about it because it was an old figure that is no longer being sold, so I have to go look on the Transformers aftermarket, which is not the best. But yeah, combined mode is a lot better than the other two, and was probably this was probably the first thing that was designed out of the 3 alt modes. And yeah, the back is a little clunky. We don't really talk about the back. We don't really talk about the back of very many figures released before 2020, okay? Okay. So in the front you could see like two iconic smokestacks that Bruticus has, and his jet black and not silver head for some reason. Yeah, he's also got this massive kind of wing chest plate, which is G1 accurate, which I love. The entire front of him is like the entire body of Bruticus is supposed to turn kind of like this silvery white color when he combines, which means that somehow Onslaught turns from dark blue to white somehow, which never really explained. It's just kind of a consistency error that happens. But you can kind of see remnants of trying to make it look like he turns all the way white, because like you kind of see remnants of like the little silvery bits poking out. I kind of wish they painted the entire inside of the leg just same silver color, just so it kind of feels a little more complete, and just kind of like put little painty details that are still exposed to just make it feel full. Yeah, but the body does feel very, very clunky. And let me just bring in another combiner, the only other combiner figure I have, being the one and only Motormaster. Let me just, if you remember my review on this guy, I said that this guy is a gorgeous figure. Pick this guy up. You better pick this guy up. If you don't have this guy in your collection, you cannot call yourself a true Transformers fan if you do not have this guy in your collection. If you don't have this guy, if you don't have this guy in your collection, well, it's fine with me. I don't care that much. But okay, this video is just turning into Menasor Part 2. Let's get back on topic. Yeah. But yeah, bringing up Menasor, that was a very solid sound figure. Very good, high quality figure that, if you remember from my video, I was rattling that thing like a baby toy. Very, very strong. You could shake. I'm shaking with all my might. This thing is not coming apart. This thing, and it would not fall off. I mean, this thing, everywhere you touch it, it wants to fall off. I mean, look at this. This doesn't even click in properly. Look at this thing. This thing just loose. Doesn't click into anything. I mean, these wings, they don't really click into much either. And now that I realize it, these are the wrong way around. That's what he's supposed to look like, which actually looks worse. His legs don't really do anything of much. This thing is in the way, and doesn't really fold out of the way very well. This entire backpack is just a hollow piece of plastic. These guns don't look the best. And his toes kind of just hang here. And they're exposed combined ports where the legs are supposed to go. And they don't really get covered up very much after you combine them. Okay, in all reality, it's not that bad of a figure. Hasbro is kind of just being lazy with this entire series. Now, there were a couple releases in that series that were pretty good, like Combiner Wars Devastator was pretty fantastic, which is actually the only other official Combiner Wars figure I own, actually. And he is massive. But, yeah. If you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like and subscribe. I can't even let go of this. You know what? If you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like and subscribe. I love this guy very much. And for my continuing videos, I plan to redo some of my original characters and stuff like that for my 200 subscribers. And the two guys in the back will eventually be featured, included in the 200 subscriber special. But yeah, until next time, bye bye.